Hello and welcome to 21st Century. I'm Daljit Dhaliwal. In high school, he was told that he couldn't hope to have a career as a musician because he was deaf. But still he dreamed of becoming a rap star and bringing his music and his message to the world. Join us for a story of true determination and defiance, the story of Signmark.
Picture yourself in my shoes, the daily life of me, yeah, this is my blues.
I could feel the beat. It was relatively simple, it was powerful, it was strong.
He was born deaf, but that didn't stop him. Now 33 years old and known as Signmark, he's become a rapper with a worldwide following.
They wanna know, how do I answer the phone and can I drive a car? How I get chicks in the bar? How do I wake up if I can't hear the alarm clock? What about communicating in the dark?
Signmark, who's from Finland, was drawn to rap music when he was a teenager.
The music was full of attitude, the videos were full of attitude, and I was really impressed by that. At that time, when I fell in love with rap music and the hip-hop culture, I wasn't really thinking about the fact it was black music or it was American music in some way. It was music.
Actions speak louder than words, louder than words. Actions speak louder.
And now, that same music has become Signmark's language of change. As the first deaf rapper ever to be signed by a major record label, Signmark's aim is no less than to shatter stereotypes about deaf people once and for all. Signmark, real name Marco Vori Haimo, takes his medium and message of inclusion all over the globe, like this concert at Minnesota University, the last stop on his most recent tour of the United States.
I'm the first deaf rapper in the industry, ain't the same. Hey, where we at? Come on and say. If you wanna talk to the man don't listen, talk to the hand.
On stage, Signmark uses sign language for the deaf audience, while his collaborator Brandon, seen on the left, sings for the hearing audience. Speaking through an interpreter, Signmark tells us he was 7 years old when he first realized he needn't be shut out from music. Until that moment, he'd only been able to watch as his hearing grandparents sang Christmas carols.
One Christmas I sat with my grandma and grandpa and begged them. I asked them if I could try to sign the Christmas carols myself. So I asked my grandmother to look at me when she sang. And I read her lips and copied what I could and turned it into sign language best I could and signed it for my mom and dad. And that's how I fell in love with music.
Here's how it works. Signmark first of all writes down a message or a story. Brandon then converts this into lyrics in English, while Signmark develops matching sign language. There's one catch. Both the English lyrics and the sign language have to rhyme, but rhyming in sign language has its own rules.
Sign language has 4 parameters. One is hand shape, one is movement, one is palm orientation, and then placement.
So even when the world comes crashing down, even though my luck will turn around.
In sign language, you have visual rhymes. The rhyme is created by the same shape rather than the same sound. For example, a pointing finger.
It means bored. If I change the placement of bored, I mean serious. So that's rhyme.
Can this be the end of the transmission? I'm sending you a message, sensing when missing. Can this be the
Signmark
end?
also helps decide on the rhythm and the instrumentation for each track. He learned what he wanted from watching MTV music videos when he was growing up.
I really watched how, for instance, a violin player, what their face looked like, what they did, And that gave me some clues about the music. On stage, it's really important that I have good bass, so I can feel the beat pulsing.
He senses that pulse through his feet.
I work with Brandon. I can read his lips to see where he's at in the song, and we key off of each other. He can see my signs, and we key off of that.
So far, Signmark has taken his visual poetry to 5 continents, performing live, from this concert in Ethiopia in Africa, to the United Kingdom, to Japan. But none of this came easily. Discouragement started early when he was at high school.
For me, I wanted to be an artist, and all my teacher could say to me was, well, I understand you have dreams, I understand you have passion, and I think that's great, but you also need to understand and accept that you're deaf. I've had plenty of people stab me in the back. I've had plenty of people trying to pull me down. Lots of Finnish hearing artists who are resentful. I'm traveling the world and my success is out there to see, and lots of people are resentful of that.
What you doing over there? There's a party over here. Winners over here, losers over there. What you doing over there? There's a party over here. Winners over here, losers over there.
The message about me needing to stop really strengthened my resolve and made me want to go back and get it right and prove them wrong. And I did.
He's really touching many thousands of people with his message.
Charles Radcliffe of the United Nations Human Rights Office in New York says Signmark is contributing to a global change in attitudes, a rebellion against the traditional exclusion of disabled people from jobs and education, even from social life.
What we're seeing now, and it's been a process that's been happening for 2 decades or so, is a shift in people's attitudes. We're not looking now at what is wrong with the individual, but what is wrong with the environment that is preventing people with disabilities from enjoying the same rights as everybody else.
Okay. Even if the world comes crashing.
Helping people alter their perceptions of deaf people is a key part of Signmark's performances. Wherever he goes, he stages an event he calls a silent shout, a mass lesson in sign language.
Crowd back against the wall. Even if the world comes crashing down, and even if my luck will turn around, I stand tall, proud, back against the wall.
Signmark's message is particularly resonant here at the University of Minnesota, which has a proud and strong tradition of providing support to its deaf and hard of hearing community. Part of that community is third-year student TJ Middlebrook.
I think Signmark is beyond amazing. He is the definition of the ability of what deaf people have. Sometimes they underestimate themselves, but when you see him, it's like when I see him, it makes me realize that the whole world's out there waiting for me to do something, and I just have to take the step forward out the door.
What y'all looking at? It is what it is. I'ma do me and you do you. Ha. Take it away. It's okay. It's okay.
Both of Signmark's albums to date challenge any notion that deaf people should accept limitations.
Okay. Yeah.
His current CD, Breaking the Rules, sends out a confident challenge to the critics who doubted him.
Signmark, we going up, not down.
But the sound and tone on his first release was very different. Called simply Signmark, it was mostly in Finnish. One video from the album attracted a special attention in Finland. It tells the darker side to the history of deaf people there in the 20th century. After discovering that deaf people were legally barred from marrying from 1929 to 1969, Signmark decided to reenact in his video the anguish of a deaf couple from that period, told they weren't allowed to have a child together.
I broke a lot of hearts. I made a lot of people cry from that album. There was a lot of rage and anger because I was bringing a lot of deaf history out into the open.
From the 30s onward in Finland, a number of deaf women were sterilized. No one knows how many. The policy was influenced by pseudo-scientific eugenics theories, which held that the Finnish race would degenerate if disabled people were allowed to procreate.
We want all of those cameras to see you signing so the world...
But for Signmark, the battles to be fought are not just about history, they're also very much about the present. He wants people to think carefully about how they regard deaf people. Is deafness a disability or something else?
My only aid, really, is an interpreter. But interpreting is still language. It's not an aid per se. If you knew sign language, I wouldn't need an interpreter here, right? So am I disabled? Or just a linguistic minority?
There are not enough people representing disabilities and other minorities.
Designated by the government of Finland as a special representative for disabled people, Signmark is part of the working group on the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. His goal is to push for access for deaf people into every area of life.
There is access everywhere. You just have to stand up and fight for it. Because if you don't, it's not going to give it to you. Like on a silver platter, you have to fight for it. I feel like people need to stop seeing people as somebody to love. And I just hope that people will have that in their hearts someday soon.
Signmark and many other courageous campaigners are working to bring that day closer for the estimated 70 million deaf people globally, looking to be treated as equals, determined to live life at full volume.
We're all human, right? That's the common thread.
Take it away.